We're at Hobart Airport in the Cessna Skyhawk II, and we're going to do some circuit training. The circuit consists of 5 sections: upwinds, crosswinds, downwinds, base and final. We're going to do a left-hand circuit, meaning all our turns will be made to the left. Okay, just set your altimeter to the aerodrome height. Hobart is at 13 feet. That's pretty close to zero anyway. This is a fairly long runway, so I'm going to have my flaps at 0 degrees. If it's a shorter runway, you might put down 10 degrees to give you a bit more lift and take up a bit earlier. Make sure carburetor heat is on cold, which it is. We're on runway 12, and our takeoff heading will be 120 degrees on the upwind leg. Once I get to within 500, 300 feet of traffic pattern altitude, I will make my 90-degree turn to the left to heading 030, and then I'll be on the crosswinds. I'll then make another left turn to 300. It will then be parallel with the runway, and I'll be on my downwind leg. And by then I'll be at 1,000 feet AGL. Later on, I'll make another left turn to heading 210 degrees. That might be on my base leg. And then finally, another left turn 90 degrees to my original heading, which I'm on now, of 120 degrees. And we'll land the aeroplane there. So everything's been prepared for takeoff, ready to apply full throttle, so here we go. This aircraft will rotate about 55 knots. There we go. My climb speed is going to be between 70 and 80 knots. Just maintain that heading of 120 degrees. Okay, past 500 feet, gonna make my left turn, heading 030 degrees. I'm gonna make all my turns at a standard rate turn. To know that, use this guy down here. Keep your wing next to that white dot and keep that black dot in the center. Okay, over 1,000 feet, I'm going to level out here and reduce power. I'm going to try and maintain about 90 knots. 100 knots will be alright too. I'm also now at my heading on 030 degrees. I'm going to look back, see where the runway is. Yep, that's a nice perpendicular angle. Between half a mile to 1 mile out, I'll make my next turn downwinds. So I can probably do that about now. So my next heading will be heading 300 degrees. Leveling out. take a look at the left window and we see now flying parallel with the runway. Always have a look out for other aircraft that might be in the circuit pattern or coming in finally. So now this is the downwind leg, and once I'm abeam with the numbers at the end of the runway here, I'm going to reduce power and pull my flaps down to the first stage, which in this case will be 10 degrees. So that is going to be right now, reducing power. And in the Skyhawk here, we've got that white arc going between 40 and 85 knots. Once my airspeed's in that range, under 85 knots, I can put my first stage of flaps down. So I'll put my first stage down now. I might have to actually increase power a bit more so I don't slow down too much. Okay, now a good indication to know when you should turn on your base leg is to draw a 45-degree angle between your 9 o'clock and 6 o'clock position towards the runway threshold. So that's just about coming up now. I reckon once I get to the coast of this land here, I should be able to make my turn. Yep, I think that's a good time right now. So I'm turning left now, another 90 degrees to heading 210. Also going to start my descent of about 400 to 500 feet per minute, reduce power some more, and put my next stage of flaps down, which is 20 degrees. We are now on the base leg. Keep a lookout on the runway threshold and judge for when it's a good time to start your next turn, which I reckon is right now. So turning left to heading 120 degrees to our final leg. Keep looking at that runway threshold just so you can judge when a good time to roll out is. I've rolled out a bit too early, so I have to correct a bit here. I'll put down my next stage of flaps, 30 degrees, and there's no really any need to go to 40 degrees. You can if you want, especially if you land on a shorter runway. You might want that 40 degrees, but 30 degrees is fine here. I'm going to reduce power a bit more. I'm looking at about 65 knots on my approach. Landing speed would be about 55 to 60 knots. And I'm looking at these white marks on the runway here. I'm looking to get my wheel station down in between them. Just applying a bit more power to extend my landing to these white markers. Alright, flour, reduce throttle, and touchdown. Apply brakes. I'll retract my flaps, and oops, I did not do what I was going to do before, and that was carburetor heat. I just mentioned now. Oops, oh dear. With carburetor heat, it is a good idea to put that on to heat during your descent to prevent carburetor icing. Some people don't like to put it on their final because if they have to do a go around they won't have as much engine power, but the way I see it, it's when you have to do a go around you gotta put your throttle all the way in anyway, and your carburetor heat is right next to it, so it's easier to go like that and then that. But whatever people think, I don't know. Anyway, that's my kind of slightly dodgy landing, but I think you get the idea.